Hello ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we are going to cover the most important questions of January 2020. Now this is a video for quick revision, so only limited amount of information is provided. For detailed information, please watch daily videos. So now let's start. Which state is set to conduct a dedicated state level adalat for LGBT community? So for the first time, Kerala State Youth Commission has announced that it would conduct a state level adalat for LGBT community, and this program would be held at the capital of Kerala, that is Thiruvananthapuram. And the main objective of this adalat is to encourage transgender community to come out with their grievances so that the government can take initiative for the redressal of their issues. So right answer is Kerala. The Union External Affairs Minister recently launched a book, Pax Sinica, The Implications for Indian Down. Who is the author of book? Right answer is Mr. Samir Saran. Actually, this book was in news recently as Union External Affairs Minister Mr. S. Jaishankar launched this book, Pax Sinica. This book is authored by Mr. Samir Saran and co-authored by Mr. Akhil Dev. Which city is set to host the international naval event Milan in March 2020? Right answer is Visakhapatnam. So Milan is a multilateral naval exercise and it is going to be in Visakhapatnam in March 2020. Now previously it was supposed to be held at Andaman and Nicobar Islands. However, later it was changed to Visakhapatnam as navies of multiple countries are participating in this event. The highest railway bridge in the world is to be constructed in which state or union territory? Right answer is Jammu and Kashmir. So as a part of major Udhampur Srinagar Baramulla rail link project, a new railway bridge is to be constructed, and this bridge is in newly formed union territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and it is going to be the world's highest railway bridge, and this project is expected to be completed by 2021. Vishwa Hindi Divas or World Hindi Day is celebrated every year on which date? Right answer is 10th of January. So Vishwa Hindi Divas or World Hindi Day is celebrated every year on 10th of January. What is rank of Indian passport in recently released Henley Passport Index? So recently Henley Passport Index was released, and as per that India is on 84th position. So India's rank is 84 and it is 2 rank above that of last year. Apart from that, India's mobility score is 58. That means Indian passport holders can travel to 58 countries without a prior visa. If we talk about this Henley Passport Index, so the index is topped by Japan. Which is the world's fastest growing city in terms of population according to recent Economist Intelligence Unit report? Right answer is Malappuram. So recently EIU, that is Economist Intelligence Unit, released a report based on the data provided by United Nations Population Division. What is the name of India's first indigenous aircraft carrier which is being built at Cochin? Right answer is Vikrant. So India's first indigenous aircraft carrier Vikrant is being manufactured at Cochin shipyard, and this is expected to be commissioned by early 2021. Which union ministry is set to launch a program for development of eastern states, and the name of this program is Purvodaya? So recently Union Ministry of Steel announced a program called Purvodaya, and it is a program for accelerated development of eastern region through integrated steel hub, and the present Minister for Ministry of Steel is Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, and he is member of Rajya Sabha from Madhya Pradesh. The Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports is to organize the 23rd National Youth Festival in Lucknow. Now it is celebrated to commemorate the birthday of which famous personality? Right answer is Swami Vivekanand. So the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports is going to organize National Youth Festival from 12th of January to 16th of January. The first in-depth review of India's energy policies was recently released by which organization? Right answer is International Energy Agency. So recently, IEA released this first ever in-depth review of India's energy policies, and IEA released this analysis in collaboration with Niti Aayog. If we talk about IEA, it is International Energy Agency, headquarters is in Paris. The report titled National Strategy for Financial Inclusion was recently released by which organization? So recently, a report related to the strategy of financial inclusion was released by RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India. And the report also suggested that PCR will be made functional by 2022. PCR stands for Public Credit Registry. So it will be a database of all the creditors at one place. The State Energy Efficiency Index was recently released by which organization? So recently BEE, that is Bureau of Energy Efficiency, in association with Alliance for Energy Efficiency Economy, released this State Energy Efficiency Index. Recently RBI amended its KYC norms to allow which type of authentication? So right answer is video based authentication. KYC stands for Know Your Customer. SDFC has completed the acquisition of majority stake in which private insurance company recently? Right answer is Apollo Munich Health Insurance. DRDO's naval variant of LCA, that is Light Combat Aircraft, made its first successful landing on which aircraft carrier of Indian Navy? So recently, after extensive trials, the naval variant of LCA made its first successful landing on aircraft carrier INS Vikramaditya. This LCA, that is Light Combat Aircraft, is developed by DRDO. The Prime Minister of India recently renamed which port trust to Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Port? So recently, Prime Minister of India attended the 150th celebration of Kolkata Port Trust, and during this event, he announced that this Kolkata Port Trust would be renamed as Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Port. Who will participate in interaction program with students named Pariksha Pe Charcha, scheduled for year 2020? So Prime Minister Mr. Modi will participate in this interaction program with students named Pariksha Pe Charcha, and this is going to be in New Delhi. What is a shopper which was sometimes seen in news recently? So recently, Kaspersky Lab made an announcement about this malware named Shopper. So this malware is said to randomly increase the ratings of some popular e-commerce websites. Which Indian cricketer won the Best Male International Cricketer Award of BCCI named Polly Umrigar Award? So recently, Mr. Jasprit Bumrah and Ms. Poonam Yadav was selected for the prestigious Polly Umrigar Award for the Best International Cricketer in the male and female category. So, right answer is Mr. Jasprit Bumrah and Ms. Poonam Yadav. Which bank has recently become the largest issuer of FASTags at 3 million FASTags? So recently, Paytm Payment Bank announced that it has issued 3 million FASTags so far, and it has become the largest issuer of FASTags in our country. In which city the Union Home Minister launched India's first cyber crime prevention unit called Cyber Aswasth? So we have already discussed this question. It was inaugurated by Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah, and it was inaugurated in Gandhinagar in Gujarat. And this Aswasth stands for Assured Assistance Service Helpline for Victims at Shortest Time. Which Indian monument has found place in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization 8 Wonders of SCO list? So recently, the Statue of Unity was included in 8 Wonders of SCO list. The communication satellite of ISRO GSAT-30 is scheduled to launch abroad through which vehicle? Right answer is Ariane 5. So GSAT-30 is a communication satellite, and it will be launched using Ariane 5 launch vehicle, and it will be launched from French Guiana.
Sahyog Kaizin is an annual joint exercise between the Coast Guards of India and which country? So it is annual joint exercise between the Coast Guards of India and Japan. Japan is the host of this year 2020 Summer Olympic Games. The meetings of IDA, that is Island Development Agency, are chaired by which union minister? So right answer is Home Minister. Recently, the 6th meeting of IDA held and it was chaired by Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah. IDA stands for Island Development Agency. Answer in comment box. Which organization provide blue flag tag? Who is the first women parade adjutant for the Republic Day parade in India? So Captain Tanya Sergil will be the first woman to become the Republic Day parade adjutant. It means she will be the officer responsible for the parade, and she is an officer of Indian Army's Corps of Signals. On which date Indian Army Day is celebrated across India every year? So every year on 15th of January, Indian Army Day is celebrated. India recently provided nearly 1 lakh academic textbooks to which country to assist its development in higher education and research? So recently, Indian Ambassador for Madagascar, Mr. Abhay Kumar, handed over nearly 1 lakh academic textbook to Madagascar for assisting its development in higher education and research. Now these books were published by NCERT, that is National Council for Educational Research and Training. Which cricketer won the Sir Garfield Sobers Trophy for the Player of Year presented by ICC, that is International Cricket Council? So recently ICC presented these annual awards, and the Sir Garfield Sobers Trophy for Player of Year was given to Mr. Ben Stokes. He is a player of England. Which company has recently announced to invest $1 billion to digitize the small and medium businesses in our country? So recently, Mr. Jeff Bezos, the head of Amazon, announced that the company is going to invest $1 billion to digitize the small and medium businesses in India. Which organization released ASER report, that is Annual Status of Education report, in our country? So it is released by an NGO named Pratham. NGO stands for Non-Governmental Organization. So this ASER report is released by NGO Pratham. Which global telecommunication company's arm has recently launched a new privacy-focused search engine called OneSearch? So recently, Verizon Media has launched a new privacy-focused search engine called OneSearch. The 7th Conference of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association was organized in which city? So this held in Lucknow, and it was inaugurated by Lok Sabha Speaker Mr. Om Birla, and the theme of this event was Role of Legislatures. Which cricketer was named as the captain of ICC's ODI and Test teams of the year? So recently, ICC announced ODI and Test team, and Mr. Virat Kohli has been named as the captain of both ODI as well as Test team of the year. The entire government of which country resigned recently after the constitutional amendments announced by its president? So recently, the president of Russia announced certain constitutional amendments that would extend his powers beyond presidency, and therefore the entire government of Russia resigned, including the Prime Minister of Russia, Mr. Dmitry Medvedev. Which is the first Indian state to sign a memorandum of understanding with IUCN to prepare a red list assessment of orchids? So recently, Arunachal Pradesh became the first state of India to do so. Which Indian entrepreneur was recently honored with Australia's highest civilian honor, Order of Australia? So recently, the founder and chairperson of Biocon, Ms. Kiran Majumdar's show, was honored with the Australia's highest civilian honor, Order of Australia. Which famous international company is to release its original film named The Banker. So Apple is going to release this movie named The Banker. The Apna Urea Sona Ugle brand of Hindustan Urvarak and Rasayan Limited was recently launched by which union minister? Right answer is Mr. D.V. Sadanand Gowda. So Union Chemical and Fertilizer Minister Mr. D.V. Sadanand Gowda recently launched Apna Urea Sona Ugle brand and logo of HURL, that is Hindustan Urvarak and Rasayan Limited. Who is the author of book The Winning Sixer, which was recently released? So former Indian cricketer and current head coach of national women's team Mr. W.V. Raman is the author of this book The Winning Sixer, Leadership Lessons to Master. And this book was recently released by Mr. Anil Kumble in the presence of Mr. Rahul Dravid and Ms. Mithali Raj. What is the name of India's first e-commerce housing portal launched by National Real Estate Development Council? Right answer is housingforall.com. So recently, National Real Estate Development Council announced the India's first e-commerce housing portal, and the name of this portal is housingforall.com. The portal was launched by the Secretary of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and the Secretary is Durga Shankar Mishra. Which state recently organized the world's longest awareness human chain for more than 18,000 kilometers? So recently, Bihar organized this world's longest awareness human chain under its Jal Jeevan Haryali campaign, and in this campaign approximately 5 crore people participated. Which union minister is recently elected as the president of Archery Association of India? So recently Mr. Arjun Munda, who is the present Union Minister of Tribal Affairs, was elected as the president of Archery Association of India. Now it should be kept in mind that last year in August, the World Archery Association suspended Archery Association of India. Which organization recently commissioned the first phase of real-time train information system for Indian Railways? Right answer is BEL, that is Bharat Electronics Limited. So BEL recently commissioned the first phase of real-time train information system for Indian Railways. So this RTIS is commissioned by BEL, and RTIS provide a real-time information about the position of locomotives to the railways. Which is the most polluted city in India as per the report by Greenpeace? So Greenpeace is an environmental NGO, and recently it released a report, and as per that report, Jharia in Jharkhand is the most polluted city of India, and Dhanbad in Jharkhand is on second position. Now the report also revealed that 6 of the country's top 10 most polluted cities are in the state of Uttar Pradesh, while a city of Mizoram, Longlai, is the least polluted city, and it is the only city where PM levels, that is particulate matter levels, are within the prescribed limit of WHO. Which state is the first in the country to implement agricultural land leasing policy? So recently, Uttarakhand government released a notification that it has made a policy to lease the agricultural land, and therefore it became the first state in India to do so. So as per the policy, any institution, a company or NGO can take agricultural land for 30 years on lease, provided that the leased land is below 30 acres. What is the name of the indigenous artillery guns which are to be inducted into Indian Army? So 18 indigenous upgraded Sarang military guns are to be inducted into Indian Army, and the barrel of these indigenously designed gun has been upgraded from 130 mm to 155 mm, and therefore the hitting range of this gun increased from 12 km to 39 km. Retired IAS officer Yudhvir Singh Malik has been recently appointed as the CMD of which crisis hit firm? Right answer is Unitech. So recently, Mr. Malik has been appointed as the CMD of Unitech. Actually, few days ago, Supreme Court directed the central government to take control of the management of Unitech and appoint a new board of directors.
So as per the directions of Supreme Court, the center has replaced this board of Unitech. It is a realty firm. That means it works in the field of real estate sector. And the firm was reported of using flat bias money, default of delivery of flats. Which private sector bank launched cardless, cashless withdrawal facility from its ATMs? First thing first, what is the full form of ATM? Okay, right answer is ICICI Bank. So recently, ICICI Bank launched cardless withdrawal facility from its ATMs. The facility will be available throughout the day across all ATMs of ICICI Bank. And for this facility, the user or the customer need to log in into the ICICI mobile app, that is iMobile, and customer need to generate a temporary PIN. Now the customer can withdraw cash by entering this PIN into ATM. That means this PIN will be received as one-time password, and then this one-time password will help in the withdrawal of money. So the daily transaction limit is rupee 20,000. The recently set up National Startup Advisory Council is to be chaired by which union minister? So Minister of Commerce and Industry is going to be the chairperson of National Startup Advisory Council. Recently, Union government announced this council, and the council will advise the central government on the steps to be taken to create a environment for the startup companies. Now, Government of India has two schemes. One is Startup India, another is Stand Up India. India's first ever convention center in Africa was recently inaugurated in which African country? So recently, External Affairs Minister Mr. S. Jaishankar inaugurated the first ever convention center of India in Africa, and this was inaugurated in Niger. Which country recently took over the chairmanship of G77 for 2020? So recently, Guyana took over the chairmanship of G77 for 2020 from Palestine. Palestine was the chair of G77 for 2019. 1t.org, a platform to support and conserve 1 trillion trees around the world, was recently convened by which international organization? So recently, at the 50th World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, this 1t.org was launched to support and to conserve 1 trillion trees. The Mauna Kea volcano, which was seen in news regarding the TMT, that is 30-meter telescope, is situated in which country? So right option is USA. Actually, Hawaii is in USA, and this is a state of USA, and it is located in the Pacific Ocean. So recently, this TMT was in news as the local people are protesting against this TMT. Which state has been ranked first in the list of India's top 10 states for leadership in energy and environmental design, that is LEED. So Maharashtra is on the top position, and recently US-based certification agency GBC, that is Green Business Certification, released the list of India's top 10 states for LEED program. Which Indian wrestler was recently inducted in the government's All India Council of Sports? So recently, AICS, that is All India Council of Sports, was reconstituted by Sports Ministry. Actually, it is a advisory body, and recently it was reconstituted, and the tenure of this body was extended to 3 years. Present President of the Council is Mr. V.K. Malhotra. Which Indian state is set to use facial recognition software for its local body elections for the first time in our country? So Telangana is going to use facial recognition software for its local body elections, and this is going to be the first time in our country. The Reserve Bank of India recently cancelled the authorization certificate of which famous payment system operator? So recently, RBI cancelled the certificate of authorization of Vodafone M-Pesa. Actually, Vodafone itself requested RBI to cancel it. Now RBI authorized the payment system operator to set up and operate in India under Payment and Settlement Systems Act of 2007. The first e-waste clinic of India was recently opened in which city? So it was opened in Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh, and it was jointly set up by CPCB, that is Central Pollution Control Board, and BMC, that is Bhopal Municipal Corporation, which public sector enterprise under the Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals was approved to be shut down recently. So recently HFL, that is Hindustan Fluorocarbons Limited, which is a subsidiary of Hindustan Organic Chemicals Limited. Which country was ranked first on the breastfeeding rate according to a new survey conducted by World Breastfeeding Trends Initiative? So this country is Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is the top performer as per the survey conducted by WBTI. What is India's ranking as per recently released CPI, that is Corruption Perception Index? So India is on 80th rank as per this recently released CPI. This index is released by Transparency International, and Transparency International is a non-governmental organization and it was founded in 1993, and the headquarters of Transparency International is in Berlin in Germany. The first edition of Ganga-Volga dialogue was recently held in New Delhi to enhance the bilateral cooperation between India and which country? So this Ganga-Volga dialogue held in New Delhi to enhance the cooperation between India and Russia. And this dialogue was organized by MEA, that is Ministry of External Affairs, in association with Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee Research Foundation. Present Minister of External Affairs is Mr. S. Jayasankar. What is the theme of National Voters Day, which is celebrated across the country? So National Voters Day is celebrated every year on 25th of January, and for the first time it was celebrated in 2011, and it is celebrated because on this day in 1950 Election Commission of India was established, and the theme for this year's National Voters Day was Electoral Literacy for Stronger Democracy. Which Indian private sector bank has recently launched its wealth management platform called Pioneer Banking? So recently IndusInd Bank launched its wealth management platform Pioneer Banking. So what is so special about this initiative? Actually, this service mainly focus on high net worth individuals. Which steel plant of India was recently awarded at World Economic Forum annual meet for being included in the Lighthouse Network of World Economic Forum? So this is Tata Steel Kalingnagar plant, and in July 2019 it became the first and only Indian manufacturing plant to be included in the Lighthouse Network of World Economic Forum, and therefore it was recently awarded by the World Economic Forum. Now recently the annual meeting of WEF held in Davos. It was 50th meeting and Indian delegation was led by Mr. Piyush Goyal. Jair Bolsonaro, who was the chief guest of Republic Day celebrations of India, is the president of which country? So he is the president of Brazil and he was the chief guest for this year's Republic Day ceremony. Union Minister of Tribal Affairs has proposed 6th schedule area status to which union territory of India? So it was proposed for Ladakh. Now why 6th schedule area status? Because areas under 6th schedule are granted significant autonomy and they get the powers to make their own laws. So presently areas in the 4 states are under 6th schedule. These are ATMM, Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram. India's first war memorial for service animals is to be set up in which city? So it will be set up in Meerut in Uttar Pradesh. Recently Uttar Pradesh was in news as India's first university for transgenders will be set up in Kushinagar in Uttar Pradesh. Apart from that, Uttar Pradesh was also in news as recently the first meeting of National Ganga Council held in Uttar Pradesh in Kanpur. Which zone of Indian Railways has commissioned the government's first waste to energy plant? So it is East Coast Railway. Actually East Coast Railway has commissioned the government's first waste to energy plant.
India's first biggest walk-through aviary with over 100 species of birds was recently inaugurated in which city? So recently the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, inaugurated this country's first and biggest walk-through ivory. Kobe Bryant, who recently died in a helicopter crash, was a legendary personality of which sports? So Mr. Bryant was associated to basketball and recently he died in a helicopter crash. He was the professional basketball player and he played in the NBA. NBA stands for National Basketball Association with the Los Angeles Lakers throughout his entire career. Which web series recently made a Guinness World Record in the largest Indian cinematic music band category? So recently, the Forgotten Army web series by filmmaker Mr. Kabir Khan has created a Guinness World Record for being the biggest ever team of musicians to perform live in the category of largest Indian cinematic music band. On which date International Customs Day is celebrated across the world? So it is celebrated on 26th of January and it was introduced by WCO, that is World Customs Organization, in 1983 to mark the anniversary of formation of Customs Cooperation Council. Which chess player won the title of Tata Steel Masters Chess Tournament? Right answer is Fabiano Caruana. So Mr. Fabiano Caruana of USA has won the title of Tata Steel Masters Chess Tournament, while Mr. Magnus Carlsen, who is the current world champion, finished on second position, and Indian Grandmaster Mr. Vishwanathan Anand finished at 6th position. Who is the 18-year-old artist who won 4 prizes at Grammy Awards 2020? So recently, Miss Billie Eilish from USA has won the top 4 prizes at Grammy Awards. She won the Record of Year Award, Song of the Year, Best Album and Best New Artist Award. And with this, she created history by becoming the youngest artist ever to win Album of the Year for her debut album. The Government of India and the State Government of Assam recently signed a tripartite agreement with which tribal group? So recently, a tripartite agreement was signed. Now, what is the meaning of this tripartite? It means 3 parties. So one is central government, another one is state government of Assam, and third is Bodo group. Which state assembly recently passed a resolution to abolish the state's legislative council? So recently, Andhra Pradesh State Assembly passed a resolution to abolish the legislative council of state. Actually, the decision was taken at the backdrop of constant opposition in the legislative council by the main opposition party TDP. What is the percentage of government stake in Air India which is announced to be divested? So it is 100%. So as per the recent announcement by the government, 100% of equity share capital of Air India is on sale, and it also includes 100% stakes in AI Express Limited and 50% stakes in Air India SATS Airport Services Limited. Which Indian city was the host of 3rd Global Potato Conclave of 2020? So Gandhinagar was the host, and Prime Minister of India addressed this conclave through video conferencing, and this was the 3rd Global Potato Conclave. The first such conclave held in 1999 and second held in 2008. The world's smallest gold chain, which features Albert Einstein, is recently released by which country? So it was released by Switzerland, and this is world's smallest gold coin. In addition to this, another coin featuring tennis star Mr. Roger Federer was also minted. Now Switzerland was in news as Davos is in Switzerland, and the 50th annual meeting of World Economic Forum recently held in Davos. Who has been appointed as the chief executive of IBA, that is Indian Banks Association? So recently Mr. Sunil Mehta has taken charge as the Chief Executive of IBA. Previously, he was the Chairman of IBA. Now, he became the Chief Executive of IBA. Which Indian theatre artist is to be conferred the prestigious French honor Knight of the Order of Arts and Letters? Right answer is Sanjana Kapoor. So the veteran theatre personality and the daughter of Mr. Shashi Kapoor, artist Sanjana Kapoor is to be presented the French honor Knight of Order of Arts and Letters. India's first underwater metro project is set to be launched in which city? So India's first underwater metro project, the East-West project of Kolkata Metro Rail Corporation, is set to be launched by March 2022, and this metro project runs partly under the famous Hooghly River.
S.O. Alban, who was seen in news recently, is associated to with sports. Right answer is cycling. So Mr. Alban is Indian cyclist and he was in news recently as he won the gold medal in 6-day Berlin tournament. So Mr. Alban is the first ever Indian to participate in this 6-day Berlin cycling tournament, and in this event all cyclists compete on every day of the competition, and it is a 6-day competition as the name suggests. So Mr. S.O. Alban won the gold medal on the 5th day of event. Which country has launched a £4 million innovation challenge fund in India? So recently the government of UK launched £4 million innovation challenge fund in India, and this fund focus on two major tech clusters in Indian states. What is the theme of World Sustainable Development Summit 2020? So the theme is Towards 2030 Goals, Making the Decade Count, and this summit held in New Delhi from 29th of January to 31st of January, and it was organized by TERI. TERI stands for the Energy and Resource Institute. So the summit was first organized in 2001. It provided a platform for the discussion of climatic issues. The Surajkund International Craft Mela is a flagship annual event organized by which state? So it is organized by Haryana at Surajkund, and that's why it is Surajkund International Craft Mela. Now this year Himachal Pradesh is selected as a theme state. The Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh is Mr. Jairam Thakur. As per the recent survey of Transparency International, which state has been ranked at the top in budget formulation practices? So Assam is on top in terms of budget formulation practices as per the survey by Transparency International, and the 4 parameters were considered for this survey. These are public disclosures, budgetary process, post-budget fiscal management, and transparency. So Assam was the top performer, while Goa, Maharashtra, and Punjab were the worst performers. Which Indian has been recently appointed as the United Nations Resident Coordinator in Thailand? So Ms. Geeta Sabharwal of India has been appointed as the UN Resident Coordinator in Thailand. The resident coordinators are the representatives of United Nations Development System, and they support the member countries in achieving the SDG targets. SDG stands for Sustainable Development Goals. There are total 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So Ms. Geeta Sabharwal was appointed as the UN Resident Coordinator in Thailand. According to the recent report by the TomTom, which is the most traffic congested city of the world. So recently TomTom released a report, and as per that report, Bengaluru is the world's most traffic congested city, and the capital of Philippines, Manila, is on 2nd position. The first World Neglected Tropical Disease Day was celebrated on which date? So it was celebrated on 30th of January to create awareness about the NTD, that is neglected tropical disease. These are caused by parasites and bacteria. Now why these are neglected? Because these diseases mostly affect the developing or least developed countries. That's why
major pharma companies are not interested to invest in the treatment or the vaccination of these diseases. Baladevi, who was seen in news recently, is associated with which sports? So she is associated to football, and she became the first Indian women footballer to sign up with a professional football club. Actually, recently, the prestigious European club Rangers Women FC signed the Indian footballer from Manipur for 18 months. So that is why she was in news. Recently, which country set a Guinness World Record for the highest altitude fashion show event? So this country is Nepal, and Nepal organized this highest altitude fashion show event near the Mount Everest base camp, and this is a new Guinness World Record. So this initiative was a part of Visit Nepal 2020, and this was the campaign which was started by the Tourism Board of Nepal. Which fighter aircraft that retired recently is also known as Bahadur? Right answer is MiG-27. So Indian Air Force recently retired MiG-27 fleet. This fighter aircraft was developed by Soviet Union, and in India it was manufactured by HAL, and it is also known as Bahadur. Who is the world's longest serving president? Recently in news, when IMF asked him to declare his assets before availing financial assistance. Right answer is Teodoro Mbasogo. So Mr. Teodoro Mbasogo is the longest serving president in the world. He is the president of Equatorial Guinea, and he came to power in 1979. Mauritius accused UK of committing crimes against humanity for refusing to allow people to return to their homes. This accusation is in reference to which island? Right answer is Chagos Island. The Chagos Islands are in Indian Ocean, and Chagos Islands are disputed between UK and Mauritius. Japan recently announced a rare overseas mission to protect their merchant ships in which region? Right answer is Gulf of Oman. The Japanese government announced a rare overseas mission in the Gulf of Oman, Northern Arabian Sea, and Gulf of Aden. This mission is to collect information about the piracy in the region, and the mission is to involve Japanese maritime self-defense forces. Which state or union territory celebrated the Losar festival recently? Right answer is Ladakh. So recently, Ladakh Union Territory celebrated Losar festival. It is New Year's Day celebration observed in Himalayan region. Now, it should be kept in mind that it is a 15 days long celebration based on Tibetan Buddhist traditions. It is also celebrated in Bhutan and Nepal. Periyar, whose death anniversary was observed in Tamil Nadu recently, is best known for which movement? Right answer is self-respect movement. So, Periyar, also known as the father of Dravidian movement, is the best known for his self-respect movement. He had initiated the movement for achieving socio-political equality for socially backward classes in the southern India. The 3-day National Tribal Dance Festival was conducted in which of the following cities? Right answer is Raipur. So the 3-day National Tribal Dance Festival was conducted in the capital of Chhattisgarh, and this is for the first time that it was conducted in Raipur. Which country has recently decided to impose 3% digital tax on large tech companies from 2020? Right answer is Italy. So Italy has decided to impose new digital tax or web tax. It is similar to GAFA tax of France. Which archipelago did tropical cyclone Sarai recently hit? Right answer is Fiji. So recently the tropical cyclone Sarai hit Fiji. Which organization has recently launched the 5-year program SNOWX? Right answer is NASA. So recently NASA was in news because of SNOWX. Actually, it is a 5-year program that was initiated in 2016-17, and this program would study the water that is contained during snowfall. Abhinandan scheme that was recently launched by Assam government is related to which of the following? Right answer is education subsidy. So recently Assam government launched Abhinandan scheme that will allow the deserving students to get one-time subsidy for higher education. So this is a education subsidy scheme for higher education. The recently conducted trial run of first double stack freight train connects which of the following? Right answer is Rajasthan and Haryana. So recently, Dedicated Freight Corporation of India Limited, that is DFCI, conducted trial run of first ever double stack freight train. India's first transit-oriented development project is going to get its tallest tower. What is the name of this tower? Right answer is East Delhi Hub. So recently, Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah laid the foundation stone of India's first transit-oriented development project.
Which state recorded the highest forest cover in recently released India State of Forest Report 2019? Right answer is Madhya Pradesh. So recently, the State of Forest report was released, and this report is released by FSI. FSI stands for Forest Survey of India, and FSI is under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and FSI releases this report every 2 years. Who recently set the record for the longest space flight by a woman? Right answer is Christina Koch. So Christina Koch, a NASA astronaut, has set the record for the longest space flight by a woman. Miss Christina Koch is expected to be in space for a total of 328 days. Now she is an astronaut of NASA. NASA is National Aeronautics and Space Administration. It is the space agency of USA, and recently NASA was in news because of SNOW-X program. It was initiated in 2016-17, and this program intends to study the water that is contained during snowfall. The Dada Saheb Phalke Award, which was conferred recently, is the highest award in the country for which field? Right answer is cinema. So Dada Saheb Phalke Award is the highest award conferred in the field of cinema, and recently it was awarded to Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. The award was instituted in the honor of Dada Saheb Phalke. Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve, which got its first elephant colony recently, is in which state of India? So it is in Madhya Pradesh. Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve is in Madhya Pradesh, and recently this tiger reserve got its first elephant colony. Now if we talk about elephants, recently India's first elephant hospital was started in Mathura in Uttar Pradesh. Now elephant is a Schedule 1 species of Wildlife Protection Act. This Wildlife Protection Act is an act of 1972. Which state topped the recently released Sustainable Development Goal India Index? Right answer is Kerala. So as you can see, Kerala is the top performer while Bihar is the worst performer. In terms of union territories, Chandigarh is top performer. Now if we talk about this SDG India Index, this was prepared by Niti Aayog. You can watch a special video on this topic. I will put the link in pinned comment. You can check video from there. The Accession Day, which was recently designated by the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir government, is to be celebrated on which date? Right answer is 26th of October. So recently the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir designated 26th of October as Accession Day. It marks the day of signing of Instrument of Accession by Maharaja Hari Singh with Lord Mountbatten. Ministry of External Affairs has recently included Madagascar and Comoros in Indian Ocean Region Division. They were previously a part of which division? Right answer is East and South Africa Division. So recently, Ministry of External Affairs included Madagascar and Comoros in the Indian Ocean Division, and these were included in Indian Ocean Division because of growing geostrategic significance of islands of Indian Ocean. Which country has recently decided to ditch its nickname Holland? So recently Netherlands officially announced that it is going to ditch its nickname Holland. Now this is done. If we talk about Netherlands, recently UNCTAD released a business to consumer e-commerce index, and as per this index, Netherlands is on top while Switzerland is on second position. E-Bikray platform was recently launched by Finance Ministry. It is related to, right answer is auction. So recently Finance Ministry had launched E-Bikray
platform, and this is an online platform to ensure the transparency in the auction of banks' assets. Now this platform is linked with IB API portal. IB API stands for Indian Banks Auctions Mortgage Properties Information Portal. Who is the first Chief of Defence Staff? So recently, former Indian Army Chief General Bipin Rawat was appointed as India's first CDS. CDS stands for Chief of Defence Staff. CDS is a 4-star military advisor. CDS is a military advisor to Ministry of Defence, and the maximum age limit for CDS is 65 years. So General Bipin Rawat was former Army Chief, and recently Mr. Manoj Mukund Narwane took over as the next Army Chief. Costa, a female black rhino believed to be the world's oldest rhino, had recently died in Tanzanian conservation area. Now the question is, what is the IUCN status of black rhinos? Right answer is critically endangered. So the IUCN status of black rhinos is critically endangered. And recently, Costa, which is believed to be the world's oldest rhino, died in Tanzanian conservation area. Now, if we talk about IUCN, it is International Union for Conservation of Nature, and the headquarters of IUCN is in Switzerland. Which state is going to observe No Vehicle Day on the first day of every month in 2020? So, recently, in order to promote road safety and to reduce the pollution due to vehicles, Rajasthan decided to observe a No Vehicle Day once in a month. So this is a good initiative by the government of Rajasthan. Which state is going to conduct its maiden snow leopard survey? Right answer is Uttarakhand. So Uttarakhand is preparing for its first snow leopard survey. Now if we talk about Uttarakhand, recently Uttarakhand was in news as Sarai sewage treatment plant was in news as it was recently inaugurated, and this sewage treatment plant is in Uttarakhand. Which ministry is set to launch Santusht portal for rapid grievance redressal for the employers and for the employees? So it is a initiative by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, and this ministry is going to launch Santusht platform to ensure the effective and time efficient implementation of labour laws at grassroots level. This will also look into the matters of services provided by EPFO. Now, if we talk about EPFO, EPFO stands for Employees Provident Fund Organization. Now, coming back to labour, recently Chhattisgarh government launched financial scheme for labourers, and the name of this scheme is Mukhyamantri Vishwakarma Nirman Shramik Evam Divyang Sahayata Yojana. Who is going to head the recently constituted task force for developing the National Infrastructure Pipeline? Right answer is EAS, that is Economic Affairs Secretary. So recently, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, the Union Finance Minister, unveiled a rupee 102 lakh crore National Infrastructure Pipeline. And to create a roadmap for this infrastructure pipeline, Finance Ministry had set up a task force which is to be headed by Economic Affairs Secretary. Which city was named the cleanest in recently released Swachh Sarvekshan League 2020 results? Right answer is Indore. So recently, government's cleanliness survey was in news, and as per that, Indore is the cleanest city in India. On the other hand, Kolkata is the worst performer. Now, if we talk about Indore, it is in Madhya Pradesh. What are the camel, mongoose, kaboom, and aluminium that have been in news recently? Right answer is cricket bats. So these terms were mentioned in the news recently to indicate the different cricket bats. Actually, the camel bat was recently used by Mr. Rashid Khan of Afghanistan, and mongoose, kaboom, aluminium are some of the other names used to describe different cricket bats. Which country was the largest source of FDI, that is foreign direct investment, in India during the first half of the financial year of 2019 to 2020? Right answer is Singapore. So according to a recently released data by the government of India, Singapore remains the largest shows of FDI in India during the first half of financial year. While Singapore is on top position, Mauritius is on second position in terms of FDI. What is the estimated cost of new Chandrayaan-3 project as per the announcement of ISRO? So, the cost is approximately 600 crore rupees, and recently ISRO has confirmed the country's third mission to moon, and the name of this mission is going to be Chandrayaan-3, and the government has approved the project of Chandrayaan-3 with the estimated cost of approximately 600 crore rupees. Who was recently reappointed as the chairman of Railway Board? Right answer is Mr. Vinod Kumar Yadav. So recently, Appointments Committee of Cabinet, that is ACC, approved the reappointment of Mr. V.K. Yadav as the chairman of Railway Board. Which city is to host the 107th edition of Indian Science Congress? Right answer is Bengaluru. So Prime Minister Mr. Modi inaugurated the 107th edition of Indian Science Congress in Bengaluru, and the theme for this event was Science and Technology, Rural Development, and this event held in University of Agricultural Sciences in Bengaluru. What is the outlay of National Infrastructure Plan that was recently announced by Union Finance Minister? Right answer is 102 lakh crore. So recently, Union Finance Minister announced National Infrastructure Pipeline, and this has the outlay of rupee 102 lakh crore. The Ministry of Finance had set up a committee headed by Economic Affairs Secretary to prepare a roadmap for NIP. NIP stands for National Infrastructure Pipeline.
Prime Minister of India recently inaugurated 5 Young Scientist Lab of which organization? So recently, Prime Minister Mr. Modi recently launched 5 new defense laboratories called DRDO Young Scientist Laboratories, that is DYSL. These labs will operate from 5 cities. These are Bengaluru, Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad and Kolkata. So these laboratories will focus on developing new and innovative defense technologies. Which state has recently announced a scheme to deliver sand to customers' doorstep? So it is Andhra Pradesh, and recently, to prevent the smuggling of sand, Andhra Pradesh government decided that it is going to deliver sand to the customer's doorstep. The state recently launched new sand policy in September 2019, and all these initiatives are taken to curb the illegal sand trade. The World Health Assembly of WHO has designated 2020 as Year of, right answer is International Year of Nurse and Midwife. We have already covered this topic in the first question itself. So WHO has designated 2020 as International Year of Nurse and Midwife. If we talk about WHO, it is World Health Organization. The headquarters of WHO is in Geneva in Switzerland. The birth anniversary of which social reformer was celebrated on 3rd of January? So it is the birth anniversary of social reformer and first female teacher of India, Miss Savitribai Phule. Miss Savitribai Phule, along with her husband, Mr. Jyotirao Phule, founded country's first girls' school in Pune. World's second tallest statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was recently unveiled in which state of India? So it is Gujarat. And recently, the second tallest statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was recently unveiled in Ahmedabad city of Gujarat. It is 50 feet tall bronze statue. It was inaugurated by the Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Vijay Rupani. The tallest statue of Sardar Patel is situated in Narmada district of Gujarat, and it is known as the Statue of Unity.
Qassim Soleimani, who was killed in the US airstrike, was the military commander of which country? So recently, powerful military commander of Iran, General Qassim Soleimani, was killed in the airstrike conducted by USA. Now, General Qassim Soleimani was the commander of Quds forces of IRGC. On which date the World Braille Day is celebrated every year? Right answer is 4th of January. So the World Braille Day is celebrated on the 4th of January. Actually, Braille is a representation of letters and numbers using 6 dots, and this can be interpreted by the visually impaired person. So this is a language for them. It was invented by Louis Braille. Now if we talk about visually impaired, recently RBI launched Money app so that visually challenged person can identify currency notes. Raisina Dialogue is an annual multilateral conference organized by which ministry? So it is an annual conference jointly organized by MEA in association with ORF. MEA stands for Ministry of External Affairs and ORF stands for Observer Research Foundation. The first silk processing plant of KVIC, that is Khadi and Village Industries Commission, is set up in which state to boost production of patola sarees? Right answer is Gujarat. So KVIC inaugurated their first silk processing plant at Surendranagar district in Gujarat, and this new plant set up by KVIC would cut down the price of production of patola sarees. Which is the first country to ban sunscreens that are toxic to coral reef and sea life? So it is Palau. So recently Palau, a small island nation in West Pacific Ocean, imposed a ban on sunscreens that contains the chemicals which affect the coral reef and other aquatic species. Who is the first and youngest tribal woman in the world to climb 6 tallest mountain peaks across 6 continents? Right answer is Malawat Purna. So Miss Purna is from Telangana and she recently scaled the highest mountain peak of Antarctica, and the highest mountain peak of Antarctica is Mount Vinson Massif. Supreme Court has asked the central government to consider the deployment of which force for guarding the various courts of India? Right answer is CISF. So recently Supreme Court has asked central government to consider the deployment of CISF in the courts. Now till now local police provides the security to courts. Local police is under state government. The Northeast Natural Gas Pipeline Grid is being implemented by joint venture of 5 Indian central public sector undertakings. Now the question is, what is the name of this joint venture firm? Right answer is IGGL, that is Indradhanush Gas Grid Limited. So Northeast Gas Grid is a project that is implemented by IGGL and it is a joint venture of 5 central PSU. Which bank has recently announced the residential builder finance with buyer guarantee scheme? Right answer is State Bank of India. So recently State Bank of India has announced a residential builder finance with buyer guarantee scheme. This scheme aims to provide a push to residential sales and improve home buyers' confidence. Now under the scheme, SBI will issue a guarantee for completion of selected residential projects. According to a statement of Lok Sabha Speaker Mr. Om Birla, in which year India will hold its parliament session in new parliament building? Right answer is 2022. So as per the statement of Lok Sabha Speaker, India will hold its parliament session in new parliament building in 2022, and 2022 is special for us because India will complete 75 years of independence in 2022.
So these were the most important questions of January 2020. Thank you, and that's all for the day.